TV wrestler, The Mac.
And I'm Showtime Stevie Stamos.
Have you ever dreamed of owning your own race car and taking it out for a test drive? Well, thanks to our friends at Rent-A-Racecar, you can!
Visit www.rent-a-racecarne.com for all the details on how you can take one of these babies out to Stafford Motor Speedway. We'll see you at the races.
Touchdown!
Racing action on Tim's Corner Motorsports is presented by Pache Motors, the largest Ram truck dealer in Atlantic Canada. Browse their inventory online at pachemotors.com. Tranquility. Help for anxiety is only a click away. Learn more by visiting tranquility.app. Finish Line Vinyl Design, the official decal supplier of Tim's Corner Motorsports. Like them on Facebook at facebook.com/finishline vinyl design. And by CB Warren's Auto Care.
(2013) second place. 2019 second place. And here we are, the 2020-21 season. We're here again, the playoffs, coming down to the finale. I've been the bridesmaid twice. We're not doing that again for a third time. This year, it's all or nothing. SIM500 SuperSpeedway Championship. I'm going for that belt. You already know, checkers or wreckers.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Vidane TV and the start of the playoffs for the SIM500 Vidane SuperSpeedway Series, getting ready to go green with the Cup cars from Talladega SuperSpeedway, the first of 3 races that will determine a champion here in the 2020-21 campaign. Tim Terry, Brandon Campbell, and Brent Roy here to call all the racing action for you. And Brandon, you've been here the last couple of weeks, and now it's playoff time. These drivers have to get up on the wheel if they want to be able to race for a championship. What are your thoughts heading into the first of 3?
Yeah, now it's definitely the time where it's go time for those guys that have a chance to win it. So I think seeing the guys lay back for the whole race and maybe try to get lucky at the end is probably going to end now, and they're going to want to be up front as much as they can.
The most recent winner on a SuperSpeedway here on Vidane TV, Brent Roy, it's got a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I could definitely get used to that one for sure. I could definitely get used to that one.
So we have a quick 5-minute warm-up session before we go racing here this evening, and 42 drivers in the server. All 42 drivers are going to qualify for this evening's race, and looks like Raymond Rittenauer and Kevin Friesen lead the field to green. Raymond a part of that final 10, as is Gabe Butler. Looking down through the field, Kevin Brown qualified in the top 10, as did Mitchell Hunt, Bobby Wetzel, and EJ O'Rourke. So 5 of your top 10 are drivers that have qualified for the playoffs. And Brandon, it's simple. You win and you're into the final race of the season at the iRacing SuperSpeedway. So if you're one of those 10 drivers, it's easy, but it's not easy because you have to race your way in, but it's a SuperSpeedway. So how do you manage it mindset-wise going into tonight?
I think definitely, like we saw last week with 3 teammates coming top 3, I think you want to make sure your teammates are on your side and you've got your practice in pushing each other and your fuel and pit strategies down, and you just try to make sure you're there at the end.
We got some returning faces as well. Josh Parker has joined us tonight in the 23 car. He'll roll off from position number 7. Good to see Dude Conrad back. He will start in position number 5. And list goes on and on. Jarrett Bolliard will not defend the title this season, but missing that playoffs, he'll start 20th. And Wes Hogue, who has come up short a couple of times in this Vidane SuperSpeedway Series presented by Rent-A-Racecar, will roll off in position number 13. So I'll bring Paul Strickland Jr. in here before we go green for this 56-lap feature. There's a lot to track and a lot to chase here. Where do you start? What's the biggest storyline in your mind coming in here tonight?
Oh man, the biggest thing coming in tonight, this is the 3rd season Rent-A-Racecar has been on board with the Vidane Racing SuperSpeedway Series Championship, and they've provided the winner of the championship with a free street stock rental at Stafford Motor Speedway. 2014 champion Ian Plash flew in from Chicago and ran a couple of laps. Unfortunately, the motor popped halfway through the feature, so wasn't able to get a finish he was looking for. And last year, due to the COVID pandemic, Jarrett Bolliard, the champion, wasn't able to get out here to the track to get inside the car and run his street stock race. So we're going to be doing a champion versus champion night at Stafford Speedway on June 11th, courtesy of Rent-A-Racecar. Going to have this season's champion as well as Jarrett Bolliard in there to run the street stock race. And I cannot thank Gary Spinato Jr. enough, Paul Verricchio, all the guys at the Rent-A-Racecar shop. That's a big deal. It's very, very cool to see these sim racers getting a shot inside real race cars, a lot of times for the very first time. Seen a lot of guys, even in this field, Josh Parker, Nate Tito, a lot of guys that they've actually worked side by side with the Rent-A-Racecar guys, been inside the car. Josh ran a few races in the 81 Army car a few years back at Stafford Speedway. So that and the championship belt brought to you by Pro-Am Belts. Man, the thing's sitting over my shoulder on the shelf behind me here. I really want one for myself, but I'm going to want to earn it. And unfortunately, not in this championship battle here myself, but it's going to be fun to see which one of these 10 drivers is going to be leaving with that strap.
If EJ O'Rourke wins that title belt, though, he might let you have it for a night.
Well, it's like I said back in 2014 in my famous promo there at Kent's Cards there in beautiful Berlin, Connecticut. You win the championship. You don't necessarily win the championship belt. You get an opportunity to fight me for it. So maybe that's what we'll do.
I don't know if EJ. I don't know who would win in that battle. I don't think it would be EJ, but we'll see how this all goes. We have fun at EJ's expense, but EJ will roll off in position number 10 here this evening, and a good shot at putting this thing away and coming home with that championship. Couple of moments before we set these drivers on the grid. And I see that Bob Smith is watching us on the Tim's Corner Facebook page. Want to say hello to him, and I'm sure he's cheering on Bob Hutchings, who will roll from 24th in his SIM500 debut. We also have John Fitzpatrick in here as well. A couple of drivers, Brandon, that just competed in the TCM Dirt Duels you saw a little bit earlier on here on Vidane TV. So strapping into the super speedways, we talked about those guys. Greg Snellgrove is in here, Tyler Hallahan in here as well. So we have that mixture of drivers from different leagues in here, including TCM, that are looking to take away a super speedway race win, not necessarily a championship, but a race win.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of the guys that are more local to us down here, or well, up here, I guess, in Canada. So it's nice to see some familiar names, and even the guys like Richard Beasley, Chad Coleman. We've seen them around enough, so it's great to see them out here again tonight.
So it looks like we just have a couple of more seconds left before we tick down and get ready to go green. This is a 56-lap race for race number 1 of the playoffs. And Brent, you went through this sort of thing here on Friday evening with the NEP Series, not necessarily a playoff win and you're in sort of pressure-packed situation. But what are these drivers going through here that are sitting ready on the grid to go racing? What's going through their minds?
Well, right now they're probably talking to their respective teams and thinking, okay, what's our strategy? Is it to stay up front ahead of the pack or to stay behind the pack? And how do we get there? I mean, if your strategy is to get to the front, it's going to be, okay, let's get lined up really quick and let's get up there and stick together. If your strategy is to go to the back and hang out back there, it's going to be, where do I pull down or up and let the other guys go, and what's going to be best to not get caught up in a wreck. I mean, rule number 1 to win this thing is going to be to survive it and be there at the end and have a shot. So you gotta conserve your stuff and be there, and it's whatever strategy you end up trying to play to get there is going to be the key.
You've seen that starting grid roll by on the bottom of your screen to let you know where your favorite driver is starting here this evening. And it starts up front with Raymond Rittenauer, the second. A couple of weeks ago, he went to victory lane in the SuperSpeedway Series to lock himself in as the field begins to roll. Chad Cole came so close last week to locking him, but didn't get the ability to go to victory lane on that one. So a tough break for Mr. Cole, but he'll roll off in position number 4 outside of Gabe Butler, who won our season opener. We mentioned Kevin Brown, Mitchell Hunt, Bobby Wetzel, E.J. O'Rourke in the top 10 playoff contenders. Wesley Hogue starting on the outside of the top 10, position number 13 here this evening. Looking through this field, there's championship contenders, Brandon, spread across this grid. A couple of them didn't qualify, including Aaron Smith and Stefan Marinick back in 35th and 36th place. So you look throughout this field, there's championship contenders from head to toe here.
Yeah, a lot of big names in here, familiar to the super speedways, to the cup cars, the trucks, the Xfinity cars. They run it all the time. So a lot of big names in here, and it makes for a great race.
And we will remind you that this cup car that you are seeing will be on the racetrack coming up on Monday for the Trans-Service Cup Series duels, leading into the Trans-Service Cup Series season opener in a couple of weeks' time at Daytona, 300 miles in that one. And you can see the Trans-Service Cup Series this season on Vidane TV. Glad to have them on Vidane for the full 2021 season. And a lot of these drivers that you see here this evening will be on the racetrack for that one as we head into corner number 3 and we get ready to throw the green flag for the first time this evening. We should have at least one green flag pit stop, and we've seen a lot of that respect-wise here the last couple of weeks. Brandon, you've been able to see it. These drivers seem to get a lot of green flag racing, and so we should see some green flag pit stops here, I would hope.
Yeah, I think so, and these guys seem pretty familiar with the green flag pit stops because, as you can see in warm-ups and practices, they always try dipping down below and get ready for that green flag pit stop, but we're about to go green for the race right now.
You saw it off the blimp shot, 42 cars strong, getting ready to see the green flag for the first time here this evening. Raymond Rittenauer, the second. Kevin Freese, your front row. Butler and Cole in row number 2, working through the tri-oval, getting ready to see the green flag for the first time in the 2DRUNK ESPORTS 146. Still waiting for that green flag to fly and for Rittenauer to fire. There it is. Green flag flies. We are underway in the first playoff race of the season for the SIM500 Vidane SuperSpeedway Series, presented by Rent-A-Racecar. And down into corner number 1, it's going to be the 87 Rent-A getting the advantage. And side by side, Brent, for position number 2 with the 1 of Gabe Butler trying to make his way through.
Absolutely. You see the 1 right on the back bumper, the 87 there on the bottom line, but we see the top lines getting together, getting a little bit of a rush. We see 5 cars lined up there. We might see a little bit of a surge coming in here to turn 3.
Down into corner number 3, you ride on board with the 25 of Freens to the outside, and you see that bottom lane pick up a couple of positions. The number 1 of Butler trying to give a little shot to the Rittenauer machine to take away the top spot. Rittenauer will come by this time and lead a lap number 1 of 56, and it looks like for the most part, Brandon, up in front, about 15 cars or so side by side in this first little pack, trying to take away and break away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, for sure. And you can tell which guys, want to be in the front, want to break away. And we're not really seeing a second pack form, but they're kind of falling off a little, maybe trying to keep it clean and safe. So you can tell which guys are trying to get to the front, which guys are really just trying to wait for the end.
You see the 23 down to the inside. That is Josh Parker, the driver for Joe Gibbs Racing in the NASCAR Heat ranks, and works his way to the inside of the 25 of Kevin Freese, and looks like that outside line became a little disconnected. There goes the 8-car, 9-car check, that Bobby Wetzel to the outside. Wetzel will go to the outside in the Raging Cajun number 9 and give a little shot to the 25 as they work down the front straightaway down towards corner number 1. 2 laps completed here, and Rittenauer continues to lead this thing, Brent, but we're starting to see some drivers jockey for position and move up and down these lines, but for the most part, it's status quo. We haven't seen that 3-wide sense of urgency yet.
Not just yet. I think these guys kind of know what to do here at the beginning stages, and you can't tear the car up on lap 3, and you gotta just kind of play your cards. We see some guys who are, like Brandon mentioned, they want to get out front, and some big pushes coming. We see the outside lane forming up there, and it looks like they're going to get a push for the lead, and we might have a first lead change here.
Looks like we may have a lead change up in front, and Bobby Wetzel trying to take it to the top of the board, and indeed he will do so that last time by. But here comes Kevin Brown in the 93, the only 2-time winner this season in the Vidane SIM500 SuperSpeedway Series. And Brandon, it looks like he's going to the front, a little bit of help from behind. It looks like the checkered flag looking car with the team on the front. Mitchell Hunt trying to bring his way towards the front of the field a little bit and flex that muscle with Josh Parker right in behind him.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely trying to, get up to the front, get ahead of whatever might happen behind. We see kind of a third lane starting to form, but they dip back in and they thought better of it.
Got 1 car stuck on the outside. That is the 3. Everybody else has kind of found their way to one of the 2 grooves and trying to feel out what they have. Rittenauer on the back bumper of Freeze, and almost 3 wide there is the 32 car of Bob Hutchings up the racetrack, and trying to form that 3rd groove with car number 79 as they work the outside and run down the back straightaway. Brent, 3 wide outside line. It doesn't look like it's the place to be right now.
No, it definitely doesn't. We got 2 grooves really formed up, and we've seen it before that if 2 or 3 strong cars get up there in a tight draft, they can make some hay on the top side. But I think right at the moment, if you go up there, you're just going to go to the back, and maybe that's their strategy, hang out at the back. I mean, we certainly see some guys make that work in the past.
And still very early in this race, this time by only 5 laps completed of the 56. There's still plenty of time to ride around, and it looks like a couple of drivers going a lap down, and I'm not sure if they have it. The 2nd car in line looks like he might have a little bit of damage, but for the most part, maybe just trying to feel out what they have. I didn't think any cars started down on pit road at the start of this one, but we may have a couple of cars that are a little worse for wear right now, but Randy Yoakum being one of them, Stefan Marinick being the other one, and Marinick, Brandon is involved in that championship chase, so Marinick already behind the 8 ball here.
Yeah, it's definitely early to be, going laps down, so if he wants to get back to the front, he's going to have to hope for a caution and stay out of trouble and maybe get that lucky dog back.
And we're starting to see some of those familiar faces make their way to the front, and I look at that middle line. You got Bobby Wetzel, Mitchell Hunt, E.J. O'Rourke, in that middle groove. You got Kevin Brown to the outside within the top 10 right now. Chris Gabot was real quick here last week and able to get up here in the top 10. Raymond Rittenauer is a race winner already this season. We're starting to see some of those drivers move. There's Jimmy North in the 48 off of our shot there, about 15th place or so, working his way up. So Brent, even though it's early in this race, there's still plenty of time to work. We're starting to see those familiar faces and familiar names come to the front of the field, including the 23 to that outside. Josh Parker looked like he had the lead going down to 3, but Brent, he's going to lose it coming off of corner number 4 and try to get that run here.
Absolutely. The old saying always rings true. The cream rises to the top, and we're seeing that here right now with some of the big players really flexing their muscles early. And, could be a case of, how quick does it take us to get to the front with a big pack, or just seeing if they can get, again, ahead of that pack. But we see the third group slipping back a little bit here. Just doesn't seem to have the steam right at the moment. So a couple guys bailing out of that, moving to group number 2.
Up in front continues to be the number 9, Bobby Wetzel, leading this train around with the 71, Mitchell Hunt right in behind and continuing to position themselves. And you look at those wide shots, Brandon, you see approximately 36-ish cars right there on your screen, plus a lapped car or two. The only real pack right now that's off is 3 cars: Dwight Beverly, Steve Herring, John Wilco. And actually, I'll bring Brent in on this because you employed that strategy on Friday night when we ran with the NEP series. What's the benefit and maybe the disadvantage to running back there if this thing potentially goes green?
Well, the disadvantage, if it does go, the only advantage is that you're banking on a caution. There's no way that 3 cars are going to really catch the big pack. Not when you get this many cars in a big pack. So, when you make your bed to hang out back, and if you lose the draft, if you lose the pack, you're really kind of banking on a caution. We got a lot of cars on track here. I wouldn't be too surprised if we see 1 or 2 cautions here tonight. I wouldn't be too worried if I was in one of those 3 cars out back just at the moment. But we're only on working lap 10 of 56, and we can see a lot of things happen between now and the end of the race. So I wouldn't be too nervous just at the moment.
There's Wes Hogue on your screen. The number 20 car was able to get his way into this championship fight through the championship points. He came in not wanting to do that. He wanted to win a race, and obviously that would have been the quote-unquote easier way to do things, but Wes is now a part of this battle up in front, and Brandon 4 wide as he kind of thinks about going to the inside. Now he goes down and he's 3 wide, but he kind of came in with the mindset that I had to win this season to get into the playoffs, but he didn't win a race. He's in the playoffs now, and now he's got to win his way into that final 4. Does it shake your confidence at all that you don't have a win yet if you're sitting in that 20 car?
Well, the thing about super speedways, from my experiences, is it doesn't always go your way, and it didn't go his way this season in the win category. So I think maybe it's obviously there's a little bit of a lack of confidence not winning a race, but I think he's just thinking, maybe my luck will turn around and I'm going to get one when it matters most.
Outside line starting to form with Matt Egan, Mitchell Hunt, and it looks like Josh Parker is still up to that outside line. In the middle, it is E.J. O'Rourke trying to come to the front of the field, and the 25 of Kevin Freese currently occupying the inside line. We've got some heavy hitters up here, but E.J. O'Rourke is trying to get up here and at least lead 1 lap of this thing. He'd like to lead lap number 56 as well, but for the first time this evening, the personal comfort number 41 of E.J. O'Rourke will go to the top of the leaderboard, Brent, and it looks like he's gone to the inside, so E.J. O'Rourke means business up here, staying up front.
Yeah, sometimes that's the best place to be. You just hang your left sides on that yellow line, you stay up front. EJ's definitely got the horsepower and the skill to stay up there, and, best place to be sometimes is leading the race. Everything happens behind you, so EJ's doing a pretty good job of, getting up there and staying there.
Bobby Wetzel made his way into this final dash to a championship, and he made it in through championship points, and now he's to the outside. He's got the 5 of Baker in behind him, and we've seen flashes of brilliance this season from Baker, not enough to make the playoffs, to make a bid for the championship, but Baker has definitely shown his strength throughout the year, and we got a couple of cars trying to make that outside line work. It begins with Tommy Ryan. And it looks like Jeff Ryan also up there as well. So the Ryan boys trying to make that work to the outside. But Brandon, there are only 2 cars right now. They're going to need some help. There's one thought about going to the outside, Jason Barham, but tucks back into the inside.
Yeah, I think with how clean and how much room's given in this race so far, it's kind of more of a, fill the hole that's there and ride around until something opens up. But as we saw last week, with teammates, we had 3 teammates come top 3. So you just got to have the right guy pushing you, and you can definitely get to the front.
You ride on board in behind that 3 wide little battle in front. Wes Hogue in the number 20 is through the middle trying to make his way towards the front. It's going to get tight up there with one of the lap cars as he goes 1 lap down, and actually it's a second lap down for Stefan Marinick in the 24 car. So a tough break for the number 24 starting off this night. Not the way that he wanted to, but up in front, E.J. O'Rourke continues to try to take this advantage away and lead this field, and Brent, that's a dangerous game he's playing up there, playing both lines.
Yeah, we talk about the pucker factor sometimes. He was pretty close at, just either going for a ride down the front or down the backstretch infield or not. He was, definitely knows where the mirrors are, where the corners are of that 41 car. But, again, one of those seasoned veterans. He's been doing it for a while. So if anybody's able to pull off moves like that, it's certainly EJ.
Drivers starting to position themselves about halfway through, I believe, of a fuel run. Will come by this next time and complete 15 laps. I think these guys should be able to go at least 30, and if that's the case, we'll be able to go half the distance on 1 pit stop, or a little more than half the distance, as up to that outside line. There goes the outside line with Bobby Wetzel leading at the 5 of Baker in behind. Wes Hogue is up there as well. Jeff Ryan making his way up there, and looks like the inside line. Gabe Butler's found the inside line, and he's trying to position himself in the top 10 as they come by this time. It looks like Wetzel will get the run. He's clear of E.J. O'Rourke. Will he go to the inside, or will he try to take the 5 along with him? Hasn't gone there yet. The top 2 are clear, and there goes Baker to the inside, and it looks like Wetzel's stuck to the outside. He's committed out there, Brandon.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those things. We've seen it enough. You have a guy pushing you, and then all of a sudden he just disappears to another lane, and it kind of leaves you stuck up there. But Matthew Baker took over the lead. He started back in 33rd, and he's up to first now. So big move so far for him.
And how about Wes Hogue? Wes Hogue up here in the 20, up from position number 13, and kind of stayed about where he was, and now takes that outside line and tries to give that little push to Bobby Wetzel. This time by, it'll be car number 5 of Matthew Baker, trying to lead this lap, but there's no bonus points per se involved. He's not a part of the playoffs, but Brent, he's trying to play spoiler and trying to maybe let somebody else get in on points heading in to that final race in just a few weeks' time. It's always nice to play that spoiler role, isn't it?
Yeah, that's almost more fun than being one of the guys in the hunt. I mean, I guess it's the next best thing, You kind of prove to the guys that, hey, I should have been in here, and I deserve a chance to have a shot at the title or a win. And we see some couple cars getting hooked up bumper to bumper on the outside, making a push for the lead here. We'll see if they can get some steam coming off turn 4 here, Tim.
Yeah, that extreme outside line about midway through this pack, but the top 2, or the top 2 lines right now, led by Bobby Wetzel and the 5 of Baker, and Wetzel will take the lead back. Wes Hogue in position number 2. Is he clear to get down to the inside? He is not, down into corner number 1. The outside line starting to form again as Thomas O'Leary has made his way up from 42nd place. Dead last on the grid. He's giving a push to Tommy Ryan to the outside. They've only got 2 up there, Brandon, but it looks like they're trying to make it work.
Yeah, and you can see a great run, and now they have a 3rd car join the battle. So the outside line, the far outside line, seems to be working for them, but we'll see if they can add a few more cars to the train and maybe get to the lead.
Trying to make the top line work, and Wes Hogue has gone to the inside, and for the first time this evening, Rowdy will try to lead them back to the stripe and put lap number 18 in the books, and it will go to Wes Hogue. And now the outside line. Oh, there goes Egan to the fence. The 02 car sideways, trying to save it. I believe he will, but that was almost huge on that outside line. And Brendan, almost looked like in the middle of the corner. I don't know if it was a bump draft or what it went wrong, but somebody made a mistake there and it almost cost half the field.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it just takes one little mistake, and one mistake by one person can cost 10, 20 cars their shot at the win. It's just the way that this plate racing goes. We see it time and time again, and we see it again. The outside seems to be forming up. We see every once in a while the front two on the outside, they get hooked up pretty close and almost in a tandem draft, so to speak, and pulling out a little bit there. But once again, the 9 car is really just committed to the outside, Tim.
Yeah, committed to the outside, and he's had plenty of opportunity to go down to the inside and try to lead this one from the inside, but doesn't seem apt to really do so, as Wetzel holding that middle groove, and it's the second groove per se, but it's the middle groove, so you get back to about 10th place or so. Those outside cars still trying to make it happen out there, and I believe Tommy Ryan might have a little more company in Josh Parker now, trying to get that outside line work. Jason Barham thought about going to the outside, but now ahead of steam, and in the middle of this pack, how about Bob Hutchings? Hutchings up in the top 10 right now in the 32 car, and Brandon, we saw him earlier slinging some dirt. He was trying to qualify for the Podium 500 earlier today, and now Bob is up here in the middle of this pack trying to make something happen here in his SIM500 debut.
Yeah, Bob, he definitely put his laps in today. A great guy to race around. One of the funniest guys you'll ever meet, actually. So it's great to see him have a good run tonight in his debut, and hopefully the momentum carries him to the front.
Has a good time when he's racing, that's for sure. And looks like he's going to try to pick up one more as O'Leary on the outside, and he's the only driver out there on the outside right now. And trying to find a way up is Ryan, and that number 99 has found his way towards the front of this second line in front of Bobby Wetzel. They'll come by this time, and Josh Parker will control this race. The 23 will go to the top of the board. The former eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series competitor will lead this train around, and now Wes Hogue will try to go up there as Marinick goes another lap down in the 24. Not a great night for him, but he's getting a little bit of TV time as this field goes by him.
Yeah, sometimes what do they say? If you can't win the show, be the show. So sometimes, we see the 3 car get into the wall out there in turn 3. Got a little bit loose. We speak about somebody making one mistake. That could have been a lot bigger than what that ended up being. We see him drift back to, just in the blink of an eye. He's back to 25th spot, Tim.
Bob Hutchings goes to the outside, the 83 of Barham down there, and it looks like Hutchings going to try to take that outside line with O'Leary giving a little bit of a push. And looks like Josh King is making his way towards the front. First time we talked about him all night long. That's that pink car right in the middle of that pack. It's hard to miss, Brandon, but we're starting to see some other drivers make their way towards the front of the field, maybe positioning themselves towards what would be green flag pit stops here in a few laps.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no super speedway expert like Brent is, but you got to think that the green flag pit stops are about to come down, so maybe trying to, get to the front of the pack, first in, first out, maybe that's their strategy.
I wouldn't call myself a speedway expert by any means. I mean, you get one win and, you don't get in the Hall of Fame. However, I will say this, that with, approximately 33 laps to go here now, what was it, Tim? We predicted about 30 laps on a tank of fuel. So from here on out, if you come down pit road, you should be able to make it towards the end. And this plays into some strategy. If you pit now, you get out of the hornet's nest of maybe damaging your car.
Yeah, absolutely. There's many different ways to skin a cat when it comes to this super speedway pit strategy, but the way they're racing up in front, I wouldn't be too sure that something may or may not happen up here near the front of this field. Bob Hutchings and Thomas O'Leary worked that outside line, but now they're back to that second groove, or what is now the outside line, as Tommy Ryan will try to take that outside line and lead a lap. Josh Parker fights back, and he will lead lap number 24. So 24 laps completed in this one, and we continue to jockey for position up in that front pack. The top car up there is Bob Hutchings, and it looks like he is going to be going to the back for a little bit, Brandon. He's going to lose a few positions as he's the only car on the outside.
Yeah, it's kind of like what we spoke about Bobby Wetzel earlier. You kind of get in that line, and that's where you want to stay. And it seems like Bob's tried to make that third line work, but this time he's getting freight trained by the other two lines, and he's heading to the back.
Still plenty of time, though, to work his way up, and especially if green flag pit stops do cycle through and happen on this racetrack, as we're getting closer to that halfway point here. And Brent, you kind of mentioned the pit stops, if we can get at least halfway, albeit there could be a green-white checker or two at the end of this thing, so you kind of have to make sure you have enough fuel for that. But realistically, if you wanted to cut it in half, the pit window would really open here in a couple of laps. So just thinking the different strategies in the back of your mind, you still have the better part of 36 cars in this lead draft. If you look all the way back to about 3 seconds back to Eugene Vernon, who's the last car in line, you have 36 cars that could very well make a difference. The only 3 cars that aren't in here that are on the lead lap, Dwight Beverly, Steve Herring, and John Wilco. And Brent, they've stuck to that strategy since we dropped the green flag.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you make your bed and you got to stay in it for a while. But, we see the 9 cars move down to the bottom lane for the first time all race, I think. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see him, maybe a few others duck on pit road here in the next lap or two. Yeah, certainly we got a lot of time for a lot of accidents to happen. I personally don't like being the first one to pit road because, once you've committed to that, then the second round of, or the second lap of pit stop, somebody could make a mistake and bring out the caution and trap you there. So, it's definitely, personally, I like to stay out a couple laps, not be the first one, just to do the monkey see, monkey do. But we'll see what these guys do.
Wait to see who blinks first, and here comes a few cars down in the pit road. Wes Hogue among them, Tommy Ryan, Thomas O'Leary, Josh Parker, Josh King among them, coming down into pit road for the first time. And we got one around Jason Barham at the end of pit road. We got one in the grass. We stayed green. We've got a mess at the end of pit road. But for those drivers that stayed on the racetrack, they still have clean race cars. It's led by Mitchell Hunt, Chad Coleman, and the 32 of Bob Hutchings nearly gets turned by E.J. O'Rourke.
Yeah, definitely, as Mike would say, calamity. And, that first group of pit stops, it wasn't as clean as they'd hoped, but the second group that stayed out, it definitely wasn't as clean as they were hoping either.
We'll see if these drivers do decide to come down into pit road at this time, and it looks like Mitchell Hunt will make that little move down into pit road. Chad Coleman will follow suit, as will E.J. O'Rourke, and looks like Bob Hutchings may have had some issues. I don't know if Bob ran out of fuel or what the case may be, but Bob is slow at the end of pit road as everybody else decides to come down here, and that looks a lot cleaner, Brent, than the last round did.
Yeah, I think they had numbers on their side for sure for being a little bit cleaner. I think 2/3 of the field kind of came on lap 1, and we see the other basically half of the field, or the other third of the field coming down here this time. We see a couple guys taking tires. Looks like a couple guys might have just taken a splash and go there. Some varying pit strategies. Somebody just almost loses. Last thing you want to do is spin on pit road on exit. But, they're getting back going. So we'll see how they blend up to the rest of the field. But this will certainly shake things up and spread these guys out a little bit. As you see the Tide Ride coming to the front once again. Oh, my goodness.
Wow, we got trouble. We got trouble on the racetrack. There was somebody in the middle of the racetrack there. Yellow flag will fly. And I'm not sure what that was, but we'll take a look at the replay. Jim Brooks is one of those drivers involved in the 76. And
That looked like an NEP practice session right there. Is that Zane Farrell? That's a Zane Farrell move in a practice session, but not a race. Holy moly.
It looked like he missed his shift and just pulled out in front of what would have been the lead pack, and it takes out Tommy Ryan and Jeff Ryan. I'm sure the league officials are not going to be happy with that, considering one of them was the drivers that just got impacted. But we'll pull up the instant replay, and Paul, roll it.
Your words are as good as mine, Tim. Looking at the Fatheads Eyewear instant replay, we're going to focus in on the Tide Ride because that's who we were focusing in on. And we'll take a quick look and just see, nice big racetrack here so we can actually take our time and look at this. But this is the lead pack. These are the guys that came down pit road first. Wes made the quickest pit stop, so he was out front, and he was getting some help there from Parker in 3. And that car was just in the middle of the pack, already wrecking. It's the 76 ride. So we're going to back the replay up one more again, see if we can take a peek at the 76. Looks like he's retired from the race now at this point. Whether he was voluntold to do that or something else, we're not quite sure. But you can see he's on pit road, and as he comes off pit road, spins the tires. Everything looks good so far. Gets right up, tucked up underneath the 71, and just drives straight.
Looks like he spun the tires there. You see the rear tires lit up there a little bit.
Yeah, he may maybe downshifted there. Let's see if we can. We saw this happen at Talladega. I believe it was during the Neps race where we had something happen, and we noticed that driving on board. Well, listen. Yeah, you can see right there. As soon as he shifted into second gear, that car just came around. So that's a tough break. You never want to see that really anywhere that you see 99 of Tommy Ryan. Black smoke coming out of the back of that car as well as the 76. So those two drivers more than likely done here for tonight. But really going to throw a monkey wrench into everybody's plans. Looks like the current leader, Gabe Butler, the season opening winner. So we'll see what happens the second half of this race here.
Yeah, it definitely split everything in two, and it's going to change the game just a little bit. But, Brandon, we talked off the top of the show about the respect between these drivers and the green flag running that we've seen. And we saw 30 laps of green flag racing there and almost a full round of green flag pit stops.
Yeah, that was great. We got the first half of the race done. So if the back half of the back three cars were just trying to lay back, now they're stacked up with everybody else.
I told you that'd be a decent strategy.
Well, it worked.
But now they have to work through the pack. Are they able to get up here and battle with these guys? Did they have enough experience to drive? There's still some questions I think that need to be answered on that one, as we still see some drivers coming in and coming off of pit road. There's Wes Hogue right there in the 20. He is the driver that is looking to pick up a win, something he hasn't done all season long. Wes, do you got a copy?
Yeah, man, just got done changing my drawers. Holy crap.
Yeah, I was going to say, what did you see out of the windshield with that deal?
I was watching Parker there behind me, and I was watching the three behind me, trying to figure out what line I was going to take coming at the start-finish line and just kind of get into a groove. And all of a sudden I look up, and I see a car hard right straight at the wall, and I just have, like, the ballad of Kevin LePage playing in my head. I'll tell you what, man, that was really, really close. I don't know how it looked for you guys, but I don't know how – I didn't miss it by much.
You missed it, though. The car is in good shape. We talked earlier about you came into the season wanting to win a race to lock yourself into the playoffs. You were able to get in on points. You obviously don't want to rely on points here, so how much more pressure is on you in these two races to try to win yourself into that final race?
Going to have to rely on points, Tim. A lot of pressure. You know, earlier in the season, regular season, you saw me just kind of laying around the back until the last quarter of the race, 15 laps of the race, trying to miss the big one. Now it's go time, Tim. You know, this is when you're racing for the money, and you try to stay up front, and that's what I've been trying to do all this race.
So what's the strategy going forward here? Obviously, we came down pit road. I don't think we need to come down pit road again, at least for fuel. If this thing stays green, you're in good position. Thing seems to suck up well and draft well. You move to the front of the field. What's your take here in these final few laps here at Talladega?
Believe it or not, Tim, I actually have a little bit of technical difficulties here, man. I'm having some issues with the VR, crackling almost the screen. So I'm going to see if that works its way out. I'm going to try to be smooth and methodical, try to get my way back up here. I know one of the guys in points right now is down multiple laps. I got O'Rourke here in front of me with others. Kevin Brown's further up there. I believe the 9 is as well, man. I just got to be smart. I got to get my way to the front. You know, Tim, all I've done all season is wait around to the last second and get it done, and the time for that's over. Get your popcorn ready.
We've got it ready. We wish you all the best here. Good luck.
Good job up there.
That's Wes Hogue. He's going to restart in position number 13 as we get ready to come back to green. And Brandon, a driver that is has no shortage of words and charisma and enthusiasm, and you heard it in his voice. He's fighting those issues with the VR, but doesn't seem shaken at all. He still wants to get up front and win this thing.
Yeah, unlike real life, you know, you don't really have the car mechanical failures. You have the technical side of the issue, so it's definitely not great to have in a playoff race, but he was up front earlier, and now he's about 13th in the pack, so he's definitely looking to get back up to the front and get himself a win.
and in prime position to do so with plenty of laps to get it done. Up in front is Gabe Butler in the 1. He is scored as your leader. Raymond Rittenauer, the second. 2 drivers that are involved in the playoff chase to try to chase down that belt, trying to lock themselves in with a win. Kevin Freese, Duke Conrad, Eric Laurie, Eugene Vernon, Tyler Hallahan, Bob Hutchings among those looking to play spoiler. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more in line that are in the playoffs, including Aaron Smith, Kevin Brown, E.J. O'Rourke, Mitchell Hunt, Wes Hogue among those. So that's 5 in a row from 9th on back that are looking to position themselves for a shot at racing for a championship at the iRacing SuperSpeedway coming up in 2 weeks' time. Pace car is in. We're getting ready to see the first restart of the event to complete lap number 32 of the 2DRUNK Esports 146. Gabe Butler getting ready to put the hammer down. There it is. Green flag flies. We're back underway, and Brent, a great start by the 1.
Absolutely. Out front there, the 87 dips in behind him with the 25. In line there too, so we see 4 cars out front single file before we get side by side behind them. And you know, I was starting to get a little nervous. The 1 might have got too good of a restart, but you know, maybe that was exactly what he wanted, to get the first 4 cars, first cars in line.
You look back at this pack, there's Kevin Freese right in behind in the 25. Look back from Raymond Rittenauer, the 2nd, and you start to see that pack back there get a little bit spread out. Little bit single file, got a couple of cars with damage, but for the most part, I think these guys, Brandon, are maybe trying to find their dancing partners, trying to find a person to draft with and maybe get themselves back to the front of the field. There's no sense of urgency yet. We still got over 20 laps to go.
No, for sure. With 20 laps to go, you know, you don't want to push it too hard and put yourself in a position to lose the race. But when you mentioned playing spoilers, you got to think guys like, you know, Bob Hutchings and John Fitzpatrick making their debut, where guys haven't really raced around them, so they don't know if they want to push them, if they want to be pushed by them, so they can definitely play a big part at the end of this race.
They work down the back straightaway towards corner number 3, and here comes Kevin Brown to the outside with help from Mitchell Hunt, help from E.J. O'Rourke, and help from Wes Hogue. That outside line completely stacked, not only with talent, but playoff drivers as they work to the outside of Gabe Butler and Raymond Rittenauer. So 6 of your drivers that are running for the playoff and running for the championship, currently in the top 7 or 8 right now. So it's stacked up top, Brent, as Kevin Brown will lead that lap.
Absolutely. You see them 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. We could go on forever. You know, like I said earlier, the cream always rises to the top, and we're seeing that here right now, where they're just, you know, Brandon mentioned a little bit, maybe they're just searching for their dancing partner a little bit here. We had a pretty good shuffle of the deck through that caution phase and through you know, some green flag, some green flag pit stops, but you know, both lanes pushing hard to see who's going to lead this lap as they come off turn 4 and, you know, come off the banking. We see the outside form up maybe just a little bit better than the inside, might be able to push that 93 car to the lead on this lap.
Trying to push Kevin Brown to what potentially could be a 3rd win this season, and probably the most important one. That would give him an opportunity to race for the belt and the ride in the Rent-A-Racecar Street Stock at Stafford Motor Speedway this season. But wheel to wheel, Gabe Brown to the inside, or Gabe Butler, Kevin Brown to the outside as they go down the back straightaway, and Mitchell Hunt a part of this battle as well, as the 71 gives a shot to the 93, and there goes Kevin Brown to the inside, Brandon, and Brown, in a familiar place, he'll come by with 20 laps to go this time and have the lead.
Yeah, as we saw last week, Brown's one of those guys that you can't really say dominating at a super speedway, because it all matters, you know, where you are and who you have pushing you, but he's one of those guys that you always find around the front and looking for his 3rd win of the season.
Comes across the stripe and will lead that lap. 20 laps remaining here in the first race of the playoffs, the 2DRUNK Esports 146. Now Mitchell Hunt has E.J. O'Rourke to the upside, as does Wes Hogue, and Thomas O'Leary has been hanging out here in the top 10 for the most part of this one after starting shotgun on this field. Gabe Butler goes to the outside, and he will take the lead back with a shot from Mitchell Hunt. And now Kevin Brown has Raymond Rittenauer on his back bumper, trying to make something happen. They'll look at corner number 4 this time and come by the stripe and have 19 laps to go, but look at that run to the outside. Here comes Mitchell Hunt Mitchell Hunt trying to take that lead away with E.J. O'Rourke on his back bumper. And Brent, both of those cars are clear to the inside.
Absolutely. They're both clear to the inside. Looks like EJ is going to go to the left rear corner of the 71 car there, going into turn 1 and try to take over the lead position as they go side by side, coming down off of turn 2, down the back stretch to fight it out amongst themselves for the lead here.
E.J. O'Rourke wants to win this thing and win this thing badly and put himself into that chase. And you know what? When we talk to a few drivers in this SIM500 league that might not necessarily be a part of the SuperSpeedway season, they said they would make trips to Stafford Motor Speedway to see E.J. O'Rourke run that street stock if he does win this championship. Brandon, I don't know if that's a huge weight on my shoulders if I'm E.J. O'Rourke or not, but right now he's in position to race for it as he and Butler are side by side. Give it to Butler at the line.
Yeah, it's definitely cool for him for sure. You know, not even being in a real life race car and already knowing you having fans, so it's definitely great for him. So maybe he'll end up in that race car and he'll have his fans behind him already.
They work side by side down that back straightaway, and the 1 of Gabe Butler trying to take it back away from E.J. O'Rourke, the 93 of Brown, the 71 of Hunt side by side. And look at Jared Bolliard. He's found his teammate in the 20 of Wes Hogue to the outside. So Bolliard trying to make his way up here. And we keep talking about Bob Hutchings, but Bob is back up here in the top 10, having a great run in the 32 car. And Eugene Vernon, one of those drivers that was hanging out at the back of this lead draft prior to green flag pit stop sprint, is up here flirting with a top 10 run.
Absolutely. And, you know, the first early going, the track position isn't a huge thing as long as you don't get too far back. You know, just keep the fenders on the thing, keep them straight. And we see the pack catching up to a lap car here as we go 3 wide for the lead here, coming on a lap car, so that should be interesting. But, you know, if you're out back, just keep the thing clean. And, you know, like Brandon said, there's still lots of time left to go. And you got to be around there at the end to be able to have a chance to win it. So they're definitely proving that to be the case here.
They'll come up in the 24 once again. And Marinick as the 20 of Wes Hogue to the inside. Almost makes a little contact with Gabe Butler. Boyard trying to find a way to the inside, trying to shove that 1 car out of the way. Hi, I'm here, and can't go to the middle groove because there is no middle groove. Tough run for Jared Boyard. Good one for Wes Hogue, and almost got turned by E.J. O'Rourke in front of the field. Well, these guys might mean a little bit of business here, Brandon, as it's push may come down to a shove here in the final 15 laps.
You know what? Wes gave us our warning. He said, get your popcorn ready, and he definitely showed that he's trying to get to the front, and he's trying to get his first win of the season and lock himself into the top 4.
And through all of that, where we looked like the 1 car was pushed up the racetrack and maybe done from this battle, he now leads that inside line once again. He's got the 79 of Jared Bolliard, and Bolliard will come to the inside, and he will lead his first lap of the evening. And Gale Brooks in the 71 giving a shot to the 93 of Kevin Brown. First time we talked about Mr. Brooks all night long. He's up here in the top 10. The 6 of Chris Gabot is up here as well. These teammates last week, Brent, almost had an opportunity to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and now it looks like they're starting to form up again. Chad Cole's a part of the mix. Looks like some teammates starting to work their way towards the front here in the late stages of this race.
Absolutely. It's all about, you know, who you got with you, who's in front of you, who's on your bumper, and can you trust them? That's one of the biggest things with this style of racing. And, you know, if you got a friend on your bumper, as long as they're a teammate, you know they're not going to, oh, we see some, maybe some forming of the big one here coming through the tribal.
And it's multiple cars, and it's Gabe Butler among those that is involved in this one. And with no quick repairs on these race cars, that could put Gabe Butler's back against the wall going up forward into next week. Jason Barham is the car up against the wall, and that will draw a caution for the second time here this evening, and it'll draw a instant replay from down in the production hauler. And Paul, it's Kevin Brown going to lead this thing, but what happened there we saw it transpire live, but let's take one more look at it to see what brought out our second caution of the evening and set up what probably will be like a 10-lap restart or so left to go in this one.
Yeah, we'll try and champ through this pretty quick. Take a look at the Fatheads Eyewear instant replay. And you can see it all happened right up front. Brown, a little bit of a tap there. Bulliard up into the one. And, man, just Bulliard and West did a great job. West definitely has some right side damage, but looks like he was able to keep that pretty much saved. Then we're just looking. There's a bunch of other cars here that got a lot of damage. Just kind of checking up there. You can see the 02, the 9, 31, the 1 of Gabe Butler. Just really lots of bumper car action. Doesn't look like there was really any major hits there. The 33 there, you can see pointed in the wrong direction, or the 83. Check that, Jason Barham. He had a big hit there in the Kick-Ass Beef Jerky sponsored ride there. But I think we might have a little bit of action coming up here on pit road. Some drivers may be coming down, topping off the fuel cell, and you know, maybe even swapping out some tires, getting some damage repaired on those race cars. So we'll kick it back over to you guys. Take a look at pit road.
Yeah, it looks like the top few drivers staying out on the racetrack. Some drivers that were involved in that incident coming down onto pit road. Raymond Rittenauer, Jarrett Bulliard. The 8 car is also down here on pit road. Or check that, the 9 car, I believe, of Bobby Wetzel getting service to his car. So there's plenty of drivers down here. For the most part, Brent, if you were out front, I think you're keeping the track position right now with Kevin Brown going to lead this field. Chad Cole up here. Wes Hogue, I believe, stayed out on the racetrack. Kevin Freese is out here. E.J. O'Rourke. Richard Beasley's out here in the top 10. So, for the most part, those drivers that were up front stayed out on the racetrack.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, some damage can really hurt you here, though. So, if it were me, if I got a piece of it, I would want to come down pit road and get it fixed up as best that I can. We see a lucky dog go by there at 300 miles an hour, it seems. A couple of those guys that you mentioned did a pretty good job. We saw EJ just take to the grass, and one thing about the virtual grass in comparison to the real thing is the splitters don't dig in and destroy the race car. So he was able to kind of turn it left and get away from that wreck. And I noticed during the replay, the Tide Ride kind of had a pretty good hands award there, zigzagging through there. I don't think he got a piece of that either, so he still got a clean machine there on Beasley's my Ford Mustang. So I think he's in pretty good shape. But like I said, if you got a little piece of that, with 10 to go, it's really not the end of the world to come down, get that thing fixed up as best as possible. Where you don't have a quick repair, you want to be in the best shape possible. We've seen time and time again in these super speedways, track position is nice, but it's not critical.
No, definitely not, and especially with the amount of laps that are left. We're probably going to have 10 laps or 11 laps to go when we go back to green. And Brandon, that's plenty of time to make a move if you absolutely have to here.
Yeah, for sure. These super speedways, you could be first place, and then the next lap you're 33rd place. So a lot of moving around goes on. A lot of, switching lanes, losing positions, gaining positions. So with 10 to go and a win needed, I think we'll see a little bit more calamity happen.
And I think if you look at the top 10 right now, you got drivers that are fighting for the championship. You got Kevin Brown obviously leading this race, Wes Hogan 4th. You got E.J. O'Rourke and Richard Beasley in the top 10. So not as many as there were before, but you still got 4 of the top 10 being those drivers that are trying to fight for a championship. We lost a few throughout this race, and throughout that wreck. Raymond Rittenauer was on pit road. I believe he may get the wave around here, as he is. It looks like. I almost want to say Jack and Johns with the 79 back here, Brent, but made a couple of moves towards him under caution. Not sure if that was anything that had to do with the wreck, but they are at the back of this field and getting ready to go green. So you got championship contenders on completely different agendas now. Obviously, Gabe Butler was involved in that one. He'll start near the back of the field. So there's some different strategies and agendas to play out here in these final 10 laps.
Absolutely. Sometimes you can say a lot with the body language of your race car, and whether you don't have to hit the guy, but you can kind of either come up beside them and, when they know, and you can say a lot. Like I said, you can say a lot of things without even having to put a hand out the window. So we'll see how that plays out as they try to get back up to the front of the field here. We're getting, line back up to get back racing. We're gonna have, what are we gonna have here? A 10-lap shootout here towards the end, Tim. If I do say so myself, knock on wood, I don't know if we're totally done twisting some metal here yet.
I don't think we are either, but we've seen some weird things and some strange things happen here at Super Speedways, and with Vidane TV covering this race with the SIM500 Vidane SuperSpeedway Series presented by Rent-A-Racecar, there are still some laps left, and there's still plenty of stories to play out over the final, what will be 11 laps of competition, as the pace car will peel off this time by. There it goes. It allows the 93 of Kevin Brown, Gail Brooks on the outside, Chad Cole, Wes Hogue, and Chris Cabot, your top 5, as they wait all the way through the tri-oval to see that green flag come out. Kevin Brown trying to pick up a 3rd victory on this season, but how will it all play out? Green flag is in the air. We are back underway, and the 93 already gone. He's going to try to bring Chad Cole along with him to the inside, and Chris Cabot. A couple of teammates lined up here to the inside. Brandon?
Yeah, for sure. We saw last week with Kevin Brown and his little teammate group. They definitely made it work in the front, and as we saw earlier, a little less now, but when we talked about strategy at the start about wanting to get to the front and be in the position to win, this is the first time we've talked about Richard Beasley, so his strategy to stay in the back seems to be working out now, but Kevin Brown been in the front all night, EJ O'Rourke, Wes Hogue, they're definitely making the push to the front with 10 to go.
You got to start making your push. We got some single file racing here for the first couple laps, but it usually takes them, or it has taken them, a couple of laps on these restarts, Brent, to kind of get too wide and kind of feel out where they are. Now we see some cars go to the outside. It's led by Chris Cabot in the 6th, but here comes Wes Hogue and Eugene Vernon working to the inside, trying to catch up to Chad Cole and Kevin Brown as we work through 1 and 2, and here comes that accordion back together. E.J. O'Rourke, Richard Beasley, Jimmy Coleman, among those that are trying to make a move here in the late stages.
Absolutely. It does take a lap or two, after a restart, even though you're restarting around somebody that you want to restart around, but hooking up with that dance partner again, getting back in line, getting the bumpers hooked back up, get that momentum built back up, and we're seeing, the outside line really working hard to get a nice, tight, solid draft here, and with the 20 car leading that, we see Beasley trying to make the 3rd group by himself, but with the 20 car leading that, I think we're going to have some more side-by-side for the lead coming here through 1 and 2.
I think the question ends up being who makes that 3rd groove, who steps out to the outside. Answer right now is Mitchell Hunt. Hunt goes to the outside with Chad Coleman, and it was a 3rd line. There it goes again on that straightaway and starts to make its way towards the front of the field. It's only 2, but it's 2 strong cars to the outside. Look at the run that they have, and Bob Hutchings trying to follow them to the outside as well. Mitchell Hunt and Chad Coleman, Brandon, have made their way up from the back of this pack to the battle for the lead.
Yeah, that outside groove is definitely working. You can see they passed about 4 cars there, so add a few more cars to the train, and I think that outside line is going to be the one to beat.
Ooh, Mitchell Hunt goes to that middle groove, and he will leave Chad Coleman out to dry. Him and Bob Hutchings, the only 2 on the outside. Him and Gail Brooks nearly have a little bit of contact. Middle of this pack, but Mitchell Hunt in the 71 car trying to give a shot to the lead with Wes Hogue in tow. Chris Cabot, Gail Brooks, the 25 of Kevin Freeze back there, and Brooks now goes to the outside. Kevin Brown has led the train on the inside, but we're starting to see a 2nd and 3rd groove as Bob Hutchings gives a shot to Chad Coleman, gives that momentum up to the 71 of Brooks. It is go time. They'll come by this time and have 7 laps to go.
Yeah, there's no waiting for the hole to come this time. It's take whatever line you think's going to go quicker and make your own hole, as we can see Mitchell Hunt's out to the lead now after being, 9th or 10th position last lap.
He's got Wes Hogue papered to that back bumper there. Not exactly clear as this 93 of Kevin Brown gets shoved to the apron by Wes Hogue, and the popcorn is out. The popcorn's popping. Brenton, the 20 of Wes Hogue, is trying to hold on to the lead, albeit forcefully, down to the inside. Beasley hops to the outside with Hutchings on the back bumper.
Absolutely. We see the 6 car fill the hole, and what a pretty good hands on that 93 car to not make that bigger deal than what it was. But I'm just going to rewind a little bit. that run that Chad Coleman was able to give to the 71 car coming through 4 or 5 rows, I can attest to this. Chad Coleman's probably one of the best pushers I've ever seen in this league. We got the 20 car going, taking out the orange cone down there on the exit of pit road. No worse for wear if he can get back up on the banking here and maybe get back, hang on to her. I'm not sure if that was technical difficulty with the VR that he mentioned earlier, but went for a little bit of a ride there.
And I would assume because he went down there, he probably has a black flag. We'll see if that is cleared by race officials or if he has to come down himself. And Mitchell Hunt nearly bought the farm from the middle groove. He had Chad Coleman to the back bumper, had that shot down the back straightaway, and that thing shot sideways. We stay green, we stay forward, and here comes Kevin Brown to the outside trying to get what he lost a couple laps ago. Kevin Freeze to the inside, and Kevin Brown will be clear if he wants it to the inside. Brown, Cole, and Hunt, your top 3.
Definitely looking like it's potential for Kevin Brown to win his 3rd of the season, and this is one of the most important ones, but we see the middle lane really worked for him there, and now we see Mitchell Hunt and Chad Coleman trying to make it work for them too, as we have a yellow flag out.
Caution is out on the speedway, and we'll slow them down, and we'll have a restart late in the race. 72 and the 48, Jimmy North, is tore up in this one as well. We'll kick it to Paul Strickland Jr. with the Fatheads instant replay. And Paul, I believe it may have started with that 48 and 72 cars. Maybe a little bump traffic go wrong?
Definitely could have been. Business is about to pick up. It's already picking up here at Daytona here for the SIM500 Vidane Racing SuperSpeedway Series. Going to take another peek here at the Fatheads Eyewear instant replay. And you made mention the 48 car, the 72, a couple of other cars involved here. Bump draft gone awry. There you can see Wes Hogue finally dropped all the way back to this group. And you can see great job getting through. Looks like he had a little bit of nose damage there from a couple of those drivers, pardon me. But we'll take another quick peek at it. A little bit slow motion and a little bit closer shot. You see the 48 already out of shape, up into the 33, into the 72 as well. Man, just a tough break for a lot of these guys. And 83, big-time damage from that kick-ass Camaro from earlier on as well. So a couple of drivers back here. There you can see the 62 skating on through the grass as well. He gets it woed up. Now he kisses that inside wall as well. So Stephen Marinak back here in the 24. 4 laps down, but a little bit more damage to that ride. The number 9 as well, Bobby Wetzel. He's in this championship deal. He's got some damage. 79 of Jarrett Bolliard. Looks like he's completely totaled the front end of that race car. Actually, it doesn't look too bad. Maybe a little bit of Bondo and some tape that'll get that thing ironed right out. But still Kevin Brown up front. Talked to him a few nights ago. Asked him how he was feeling about this race. Very, very confident. Very, very excited for this championship deal. And he feels like the cream's going to rise to the crop. And he's one of those guys you could consider the cream, Tim.
Yeah, one of the more popular drivers over here at SIM500, and we'll see him when we see the Monday night Trans Service Cup Series come to Vidane TV beginning on Monday with the duels. But Kevin Brown right now has positioned himself up in front, and Brandon, he's got 2 wins this season, looking for that 3rd. He's got a teammate in Chad Cole up there, and then he's got a couple of familiar faces to Super Speedway Racing. But keep talking about this playoff pitch. You're trying to win and you're in, trying to lock yourself in to that final race. Kevin Brown, Mitchell Hunt, you've got E.J. O'Rourke, Richard Beasley up here in the top 8. So you got 4 of the top 8 drivers that are racing for a championship. You've got Chad Cole, Chad Coleman, Kevin Freeze, Chris Gabeau among those that were on the wrong side of the inch this season, didn't get that win that they wanted to. In the case of Chad Coleman, came close, did not make their way in. You know they want nothing more than to play spoiler or maybe potentially push a teammate to a win.
Yeah, as Brent said earlier, it takes about a lap for these cars to get to, max speed so they can find out where they're going to go again. And we're going to have a green-white checkered. So really it's going to be a 1-lap shoot-up to the end. And again, as Wes said, we better have our popcorn ready for this one.
Yeah, if you have time now to pop it under yellow, because we're going to have, I believe this will set up, Brent, a green-white checker finish. Come by this time to complete lap 54, which will push us to that green-white checker to try to finish this one under green, and Kevin Brown in a familiar place to try to lock that one up. But nothing is impossible right now. You look back to a guy like E.J. O'Rourke or Richard Beasley, sitting back in row number 4, those two drivers in this playoff hunt, if something does happen to those guys in front, they are able to position themselves. They could end up winning this race.
Absolutely. I mean, just because you start on the front row or the second row really is not going to mean a whole lot. I really feel like if you get two guys hooked up from the 5th to 10th, maybe even back to the 12th area, if you get two guys hooked up solid and they start ripping the top, they might have a chance to just build some momentum and go by everybody, depending on how dirty the draft is going to be with them fighting each other. So watch for maybe a move like that from a little further back. Like I said, maybe a little further behind Beasley. I'm not sure who exactly is there right at the moment and kind of what condition they're going to be in. We see a little bit of a lane choice, interesting tactic here from the 93 car Brown. Tim, what do you think's going on there?
Well, he does have a teammate to the inside, and I believe Chris Gabot back there is working with them as well. So it could potentially be something that the leader may count down the driver in Discord or TeamSpeak or whatever they are using or utilizing for voice communication, or maybe within the iRacing sim. But that's the only thing that I can think of is Kevin Brown playing games here with the pace car at the front of this field. But Brandon, you know the team dynamic and being able to maybe count down your teammates and trying to time things. How crucial is it, especially on a green-white checker to SuperSpeedway, where it takes a little time to get these cars up to speed?
Yeah, it's definitely important. And with counting it down, you get the jump on the rest of the field. So if you're on the inside and you get that jump and you want to go to the outside, you have all the power to do it. So getting that jump's definitely important with a green-white checkered. So I think that's probably their plan on this restart.
And especially when you get row number 2, where you have Mitchell Hunt and Chad Coleman, who are working together this evening in that second row. And then you got Richard Beasley back there, who's working with Mitchell and Chad. So you've got some teammates, some pairings here throughout the top 10. Got some drivers trying to lock their way into the playoffs. I'm sure you got some teammates trying to push others into that Final Four. So, Brent, some different storylines here are going to play out over these 2 laps.
Yeah, it's going to be certainly pretty interesting to see what line goes, how they form up. Like we mentioned before, it kind of takes a very minimum half, 3/4 of a lap to get these things wound up, get them hooked up. So, like Brandon mentioned, if using these lanes to the advantage of the 93 and the 17 and the 71, they use those lanes and their team communication to get going and get hooked up quicker. Man, the odds are in their favor here. So we're going to start the long, slow start through the try over here at Talladega as they come down, and they're on the go pedal there now. We see the 93 take off and instantly get out to a pretty good run. The 17 is going to fall in behind him there. So kind of how we predicted that, and those teammates are going to hook up. But we see on the outside row, the 38 and the 6 already hooked up here in the second groove, so look for them to make a charge on the backstretch, Tim.
Mitchell was able to get to the inside of the 6 and try to prevent him from coming down and helping his teammate and kind of forcing him into pushing Chad Coleman out to that outside. Kevin Freeze giving a little encouragement to the 6, and Richard Beasley and E.J. O'Rourke a part of this battle as well. We'll see if we can get to this white flag and see if this race will be official, or if we'll need one more green-white checker attempt. They're out of corner number 4. Kevin Brown controls the front of this pack with Chad Cole, but here comes Coleman. They are going to get to the stripe. White flag is out. Final lap, Brandon.
Yeah, this is do or die for these guys that need the win. So Kevin Brown so far up front, but we'll see if that second line will push him up past him or not.
Down the back straightaway for the final time in the 2DRUNK Esports 146. Mitchell Hunt giving a shot to Chad Cole. Kevin Brown leads this thing. The outside line going to need a little more steam if they want to pick up a victory. About to get wild here through 3 and 4. The 6 at Gabot trying to push Chad Coleman. Mitchell Hunt has gone to the outside. Gale Brooks trying to get up to his teammates. who is going to take away the first round of the playoffs. Look at Mitchell Hunt and Chad Coleman, the run they are trying to get, but that's all it is. Kevin Brown, third win of the season, and he is going to the playoffs to compete for the Final Four and a shot at a ride in a Rent-A-Racecar street stock and the shot at the belt. Kevin Brown, and it's the second consecutive week, Brandon, he's going to victory lane.
Yeah. Again, we don't like to use the word dominant in super speedways, but he's definitely hooked up here. He's definitely he makes it easy to push, as I can see so far. So great win for him, 2 in a week, and it's a great start to the playoffs.
And you don't want to talk about points when you talk about a super speedway series, but 2 drivers are going to get into that round of 4 through points. So it's a good points night for Mitchell Hunt, EJ O'Rourke, Richard Beasley, getting the leg up on some of their competition, and guys like Wes Hogue, Aaron Smith, middle of the field, they're going to have to come back next week and come back guns a-blazing to either win a race or get their way in on points. You see the top 10 on your screen, and Chad Cole, Mitchell Hunt, top 3, but Kevin Brown going to celebrate here on the front straightaway. He is a winner for the 3rd time this season, and you better believe, Brent, he's pretty happy behind the wheel. He's going to race for that championship in 2 weeks.
Absolutely. He's burning the rear tires off that 93 machine right at the moment. But let's go back. I think what really won him the race, we see the 23 car hung up on the fence there a little bit. He's going to give him a little tap, help him out. But lane choice really was a big factor in that late race restart, being able to hook up with the teammate. And, Chad Cole's not in the playoff picture. And, I don't think there was any doubt in my mind that 17 car was locked on the rear bumper of that 93 and it wasn't moving off it. At the late stages of the races, oftentimes your friends are where you found them, and he found one pretty quick right there.
So Kevin Brown is going to celebrate. We'll see if we can't get a hold of our race winner for the 3rd time this season. And we have Kevin Brown and Brent Roy. You may as well take away winner to winner, our last 2 winners on Super Speedway races here on Vidane TV. Brent Roy in victory lane with Kevin Brown.
Absolutely, Kevin. What a race! You had a couple little hairy moments there where we thought, things were kind of going literally sideways for you there, down in 1 and 2. With a few laps to go. How were the nerves at that point, Kevin?
Oh my goodness, they were on edge. Especially I saw Wes. I knew he was going to peak there, and I was like, don't do it. And he did it. I had to back out of it a little bit, and God, I thought my race was over. Thankfully, I had my teammates behind me, so they backed out of it. But, let me tell you, that was crazy.
Yeah, we definitely. I said to Tim that was definitely a big pucker factor time for everybody up here. We could have been a lot bigger than what it was, so you had some pretty good hands on you to keep you up there in the hunt. Looked like you had quite a bit of help there towards the last couple laps, and some interesting lane choice on the last restart. Walk us through those last couple laps and what made you decide to go to the top side.
Yeah, thankfully all my teammates were up here with me. Like I said, Chad Caldwell, G-Bone, Chris Caboo, they were all with me. Taking the outside there, I had Chad on my inside. I figured that if I could get a good start, I can get in front of him, and he can maybe push me to the win, which thankfully he did. I owe him a whole lot. But yeah, that's pretty much how it happened.
Absolutely, and I believe that knocks win number 3 on the calendar this year and locks you into the round of 4 to fight for that championship belt, and that really exciting opportunity to get a chance behind the real steering wheel of the Rent-A-Racecar there at Stafford Speedway. You must be pretty happy to be able to lock yourself into the top 4 there.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome, man. Definitely come next week. We're still going to come out guns blazing. We're going to try to win another one.
Absolutely. You definitely got some momentum on your side. Big congratulations to you tonight, Kevin. Who gets it done for you guys? Who do you got to thank to get you here tonight?
I got to thank, as always, Chris Caboo for painting the paint scheme. Pride. Let's see here. My teammates from Rent-A-Racing. Chad Cole, Dale Knott, Chris Caboo, Gail Brooks, and you guys are putting it on as always in SIM500. And yeah, appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely, you have it there. Kevin locking himself into the Final 4. And once again, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, that's 2 wins in a row for Kevin.
It is, and it's 2 races in a row for his teammate Chad Cole to be up here in the mix as well. And Chad, It's not a win, but it's still a podium finish. Position number 2. Talk about that run to the finish on that green-white checker. What was going through your mind, and trying to set up another team 1-2 and then some?
Yeah, we didn't quite have the position like we did last week where we could try to pull out and sneak one in on them. The 77 and 38 were kind of lined up on the top lane, and I didn't quite feel comfortable jumping up there and hanging Kevin out there. But we made the most of that. It was pretty sketchy in the early going. Based on what practice fuel numbers I was getting, I kind of realized it was going to be kind of close. So we were kind of hanging out there for the most part in the first part of the race. And some of those guys not doing the greatest job coming up pit road, stopping in the middle of the track and not get below the yellow line before they start slowing down. So that was pretty sketchy doing that. And then, yeah, it was just the race really fell our way. We avoided another crash. I think it was about 42 or so. And just kind of everything went our way. And sometimes you need that to happen in these races.
How important is this team dynamic? Obviously, it's a super speedway, and everybody has to work together, but you guys seem to have it figured out, at least in the last couple of weeks, more than these other drivers do. How important is this team dynamic and these guys on your team to make it happen for at least the last 2 weeks to get Kevin up here and battle for a win?
Well, Kevin is like totally in his comfort zone at these plate tracks, like charging hard, slicing and dicing for the lead. And meanwhile, I'm back in like 30th, just hanging out, trying to log laps, be there at the end. So Kevin's having to like up my game a little bit to try to keep with him. I realized, I think it was that. I can't remember what point in the race it was, but it's coming about 20 to go, and I was like, all right, this is about time to go now. We can't ride anymore, and that's kind of been the strategy lately, and it's really worked out. So I don't want to mess with a good thing too much.
So Kevin's got the win the last 2 weeks. Obviously, the team has got the win and got some good positioning, but is it time for Cal Naughton Jr. to finally beat Ricky Bobby? Can we do that next week?
Yeah, I think we're gonna go a little shake and bake and try to sneak around Kevin there for a win. Because if I'm not mistaken, with this point format, Kevin will be locked into the championship. From what I heard, I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to check on that. So we're gonna have to share the wealth with myself and Gael and Giblets there to get one of us a win at least before this season's out. Kevin can't get all the glory. What's that? His third win this season so far?
Yeah, he's got 3 wins. He's locked into that championship, so it maybe a little bit of a break for him next week, and maybe share the wealth and spread the wealth with the team. We talked about who's on this team, but who makes it happen for you? Who's on this race car? Who helps you get to the virtual track each week?
Yeah, we got to give a shout out to Giblets for the sweet paint job. I love that blue chrome he's got going on there. He has a nice NOS Energy paint job himself there, and he does Kevin's work too. So I give a shout out to him, Kevin, Gael, and everyone back at the shop for giving us some sick hot rods. Oh, I gotta give a shout out to Luke too. He's Giblets' kitty cat. That's a big honking chonker. So I gotta give a shout out to him because I forgot to do that before and I caught hell.
Well, there you go. At least you got it taken care of this week. That's Chad Cole finishing position number 2 once again on the podium here in this Vidane SIM500 SuperSpeedway Series presented by Rent-A-Racecar. And Brent, we'll hand it over to you with position number 3. A familiar face here on Vidane TV. Mitchell Hunt comes home in 3rd.
Absolutely. Mitchell Hunt, we round out the podium with yourself. Pretty good run towards the stretch there. Wasn't sure if you were going to be able to sneak it into 3rd as we were coming off of turn 4 there, but walk us through the last couple laps. So what was running through your mind?
Pretty much I was just trying to break up those 4 or 5 guys. I think it was Chad, Kevin, and Gail, and I think 1 or 2 other guys. They were all kind of working together there at the end. So it's kind of hard to beat 5 or 4 cars against 1 or 2. So kind of line up on the inside line there. Kind of just got boxed in and really couldn't do too much until it kind of hole opened up on the last lap there. But it was kind of too late to really do anything. So it's good points. I'll take it and move on to the next one.
Absolutely. You mentioned some points. Some of the other contenders within the final, searching for the final four, didn't have the best nights. So kind of setting yourself up that if you have to rely on some points to get into that final four, it won't be as tough for you. So who makes it happen for the 71 card to get you to the racetrack every week? Who do you got to thank?
I gotta thank Chad for helping me good bit those last couple laps. Beasley, EJ, we don't really work together necessarily as a team, but every man for himself until someone does need a hand. So shout to those guys, shout to you guys for putting this on and making it all come together.
Hold up, I got one more question for you. I want to ask about the paint scheme because I know Kevin's been busy painting paint schemes, but we've seen the Libra, we've seen the Rainbow Fish, we've seen all kinds of different sort of combinations on this car. What was the inspiration behind this one?
So this one kind of goes back to the old Peak Series days. I forgot what the car was that you suggested. You would know the name. I forget
the Rainbow Fish, but it was a little more colorful than that.
Yeah, the Rainbow Fish. I mean, that was a classic. So this is kind of a somewhat replica of that. Maybe I'll try and see if Kevin can add some pop to it, get some color on it.
Well, if not, I'll bug Kevin for sure. Congratulations. We'll see you next week.
All right, thank you guys.
That's Mitchell Hunt coming home in position number 3, and a good points night for him. He'll be the first driver in the playoff picture on points that doesn't have a win, albeit, Brent, with what everything's going on here, you want to win a race because this thing is so darn unpredictable.
Absolutely. Locking yourself into that is obviously, goal number 1. Then you can just, like right now, Kevin's got himself on easy street, man. He just goes into the next race. He can help out or maybe hinder. I'm not sure exactly, his style to say, but, maybe there's somebody that he doesn't want to race and he can help push somebody else past them for the win. He's got a little bit of leeway there now that he's locked himself in the top 4, and that's the perks that come with that. So when you got to rely on points, you really don't have that flexibility. So be nice for him, but like I said, some of these guys had some better nights than some others, and Mitchell certainly looking at a pretty good start to the points side of things to get to the round of 4.
And I know Brandon was here, but he had an issue trying to get to victory lane. I guess he unplugged his headset / computer. So tough break for Brandon, but we want to thank him for helping us out this evening. And Paul, it's we're done for now. We got a break, and then we head back to the SuperSpeedway with Neps. We've got SIM500 for the Trans Service Cup Series Monday, RBR, Showtime Cup. It's a busy week coming up.
Yes, sir. Doubleheader Monday night, Tuesday night. The RBR Maritime comes back to us. 7:30 single car qualifying action. Showtime Cup Series. They're at a play track Wednesday night. They just signed on with Fatheads Eyewear, so be sure to check out fatheads.com. That's Fatheads with a Z. Off Thursday and Friday. Saturday night, right back here for the SIM500 Vidane Racing SuperSpeedway Series Championship breakdown. Last race before the championship race. We're going to find out which 4 of these drivers, we're going to find out which 3 of these drivers are going to join Kevin Brown in that championship fatal 4-way race at iRacing SuperSpeedway. Whichever driver out of those championship 4 finishes ahead of the other 3 wins the championship. They come home with that beautiful, gorgeous ProAmBelts.com championship belt, and they get the opportunity to drive and race a street stock from Rent-A-Racecar at Stafford Motor Speedway in June, on June 11th. Very, very exciting. Crazy to see Kevin Brown come back for win number 3 all season long so far for the first 7-8 races. For the first 7 races, 7 different winners. And then for Kevin Brown to come in, win the last race into the chase, and or the last race into the championship bracket, and then the first race after the championship bracket kicks off. Definitely a power move, as they say. The cream always rises to the top. Ooh, yeah. Can't do too many of those live. But great action here from Daytona for these SIM500 guys. Next time we come live, Vidane TV, SIM500 Trans Service Cup Series. Very, very excited. That's got a big hype feel, big fight feel for Monday night. Very, very happy to announce that Vidane TV is the new home for the SIM500 Trans Service Cup Series. Going to be picking up with the Daytona Duels on Monday night after Neps visits Daytona as well. So big action coming Monday night. You do not want to miss it. Want to thank everybody here at Vidane TV. Tim Terry, Brent Roy, Brendan Campbell, myself, Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr., everybody here for SIM500, Vidane Racing, Vidane TV, all of our partners, sponsors, drivers, everything like that. Go over to Twitch, check out Kevin Brown, Kevin D.A. Brown on Twitch, and he streamed the whole race, and that's what you were able to see. A little picture-in-picture action here on Vidane TV, some live racing action as well as the in-car from Kevin Brown. We're going to try and do a little bit more of that for the rest of the season with some of these drivers, but going to do it here for us tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching over on Facebook and YouTube. Give us a like, give us a share, give us a follow. Let us know how we did tonight. Give us a shout, and be sure to head on over to the merchandise table on your way out of town, vidane.net/shop. Get yourself a 2DRUNK eSports hooded sweatshirt, a Vidane TV t-shirt, lots of tank tops, Angry Tree Guy merchandise in there as well. But we're gonna wrap things up. Gonna pack everything up. We're actually gonna stay at one of these Daytona tracks, either Daytona or Talladega, and call some super speedway action Monday night. But in the meantime, enjoy the big game tomorrow night, and it'll be the old guy versus, well, the other guy. Don't really quite follow football, but it should be a good game nonetheless. Have yourselves a great night. Thanks so much for tuning in to Vidane TV.